Hi YouTubers, Felix here. I'm just doing a video response to Finn's recent video on transitioning in middle age. I started transitioning when I was 42, which obviously, they say life begins at 40. Well, yeah, I was enjoying my life, I suppose, but obviously realising that I needed a transition was coming very fast. Um, and yeah, I'd reached kind of that kind of middle age kind of thing. Um, and when I decided to transition, I knew that I'd probably put a bit of weight on. I mean, I'm no spring chicken. I've always had the ability to put muscle on. That's never been a problem, even pre-T. If I worked out, I put muscle on. It wasn't really an issue, that. Um, but if I didn't look after myself, I always got the old middle-aged spread thing in the middle. My weight always seemed to go on my belly and my hips and my bum. So when I decided to transition, I thought, well, I better be careful, because everybody tells me that testosterone puts weight on. So that's not just muscle mass, it tends to put a lot of water weight on and fat weight, because you do tend to get the munchies. So if you're not watching yourself, you'll probably put a bit of weight on. So, oh, my hay fever driving me nuts. Sorry about this. So anyway, when I went on testosterone in December 2008, yeah, I got serious munchies, and before that I'd lost a bit of weight in preparation to go on T, but I soon put it back on again because I got serious munchies. And I put quite a bit of weight on. And I was, before I had my first, well, before I got to my first surgery, I had to lose quite a lot of weight, because I'd banged on, I was well over 12 stone, which for a little guy like me just makes me horrendously square. And I put it on around my belly, the usual places. And I'd kind of become a bit complacent about myself. So when I knew I was going to be possibly having my first surgery in 2010, I decided to go to the gym. So that was about the March 2009. I went to the gym, started dieting, exercising, low carbs, high protein, because my body just doesn't do carbs very well. So I decided that was probably the best one for me. And I worked out 3 times a week, and I lost about a stone and a half before I had my first chest surgery. So I was quite pleased with that. So I did it steadily, obviously, and losing the largest amount in the first few months, because it needed to go, obviously, and that was the first few months. I lost about a stone in the first 2 months, and then after that it was gradual. So it did take quite a bit to lose the final amount before I had my lower surgery as well. But yeah, it was harder, and I think it was harder being a bit older as well, because my metabolism has never been brilliant. So like being 42, 43 by this stage, I was yeah, it was a bit more difficult to lose the weight, and I found that I had to do a lot more cardiovascular work to burn the calories and burn the fat. So by the time I had my first chest surgery, as I say, I'd lost about a stone and a half, and I wanted to get down to 10 stone if I could. So I was clocking on for about 12 stone 3 when I started, and I did manage to get down to 10 stone before September 2010, which is when I had my lower surgery. Um, but the surgeon had told me in the May 2010, you better put a bit more weight, build that forearm up for us to do the phalloplasty from, because it's gone a bit thin and it needs a bit more tissue and a bit more fat, and you need to build it up. So he gave me some exercises to do to help me to build the forearm up. And I managed to put £5 back on, because he'd said, I want you to put half a stone on. And I was like, yeah, okay, I'll do my best, you know. So I was like, didn't do as much cardiovascular in the gym and concentrated a lot more on putting muscle mass on rather than fat. So yeah, that was that. And then in between my surgeries, I did actually keep going to the gym, because I wanted to stay fit, and with my asthma I wanted to actually stay aerobically fit, so that when they did all the tests, you know, the oxygen levels would be good and everything else. And because I knew I was having back-to-back surgeries, which ended up being about one every 2 months, when I averaged it out, I knew I needed to be really fit. And because I was in my 40s, I thought, well, I need to be extra fit because I'm not young anymore. I'm not old, but I'm not young, so let's make sure that I'm really fit. And I've never smoked, and you know, so that was good. And I didn't really drink much, so that was good too. So that was all in my favour. So after I finished all my surgeries, as I thought, in July 2011, I was very tired, and I hadn't had much rest in work, because I'd been just going straight back to work after my recovery and not having phased returns or anything like that. So I was just going straight back to work, and it was hard work working with the kind of kids that I work with, because they've got, you know, behavioural and emotional problems, and it's pretty stressful and quite demanding. I love my work, don't get me wrong, but it is very stressful and demanding. And my best thing is me one-to-one work. I do work one-to-one with children, and I absolutely love that. It is the thing I'm best at, really, the one-to-one situation. Anyway, so yeah, so I kind of eased off because I needed a rest. And then things started going wrong with the erectile device, so and I was going to have another chest surgery just to tidy things up a bit more. And so I went back to the gym, and I got myself fit again and things like that, and I lost a bit of weight again, because I put a bit of weight on in between, not much, but enough so I could just get rid of it again, you know. I managed to just, like, it was only £10 or something, so I just got rid of that really easily. And then I got that sorted, and then it went wrong again, and then it went wrong again. So in between all these bits of it going wrong, I was so exhausted in work, and I was trying to go to the gym, and I was trying to keep fit. And then I was doing it at home. I had my own gym at home, you know, a bench and things. And I was trying to do that. And then I was getting on quite well with that and keeping the weight under control. And then I kind of lost my space in my gym, so that was a bit of a... initially it wasn't a problem, but then I have missed it rather a lot, but I've got nowhere to put it at the moment, so tough. And I just lost all... I was so tired in work, and I just lost all motivation to go back to the gym. So it's 2013 now, and as I say, the erectile device went wrong 5 times. And so I kind of... I'm going to mix this video in with something else that's happened to me around all this, and I started feeling like I was getting down and more down, and I fought with it, because I thought I'm getting depressed again, but I battled with it, and I thought, no, I'm not going to give in to this. Last time I was really depressed, and it was reactive depression to situations that was going on in 2008. both work related and breakdown of relationship, my dysphoria coming out and everything. And I thought, I'm not going to let that happen again. So I fought it between 2012 and 2013. And every time the erectile device went wrong, I picked myself up and I said, right, come on, we'll just have another go. So I kept, and then I had Helen and my friends and everybody boosting me up, and that was great. But inside, I was putting a happy face on the outside, but inside, psychologically, and in my soul, I didn't want to give in to it because, it's all the things about feeling like a drip, feeling like you're not good enough of a man. You're feeling like you're a bloody great big girl's blouse if you give in to this sort of thing. And I know that's not nice to say, but it's the sort of reaction you actually get off people. That you're weak or something. I mean, I've heard it get said, that people are big girl blouses, and if they're stressed or if they get depressed or, and it's just not looked on favourably by the world if you're a bloke and you get depression or anxiety or stress, because, people just look at you as like you're some sort of wet lettuce or something, and it's not nice. So I really did fight hard with it. And then when and there was other stuff as well that was eating away at me, and I was trying not to let it eat away at me. But in the end, I was so exhausted with it all that when the erectile device failed for the 5th time at Easter, and things started getting iffy in certain areas of my public life, let's say, then it wasn't, it was like, well, I've worried for 2 years, 3 years, well, I've worried since the beginning of my transition, and particularly since I started surgeries, that my surgeries could, pose a threat to other areas of my life. And like we all do as trans people, we worry about the surgeries. And up to Easter it didn't, and then all of a sudden this, that and the other thing all got together, and all of a sudden it was problematic, me having this surgery. And that wasn't good because my stress levels went through the roof, because I thought, oh, this is looking not good, and I'm really scared now that, my surgeries are going to be a negative in other areas of my life, and are going to influence what happens in other areas of my life. So I went and had my surgery anyway in the Easter holidays, like I always do it in the holidays if I can, Well, I have done most of them in the holidays, to be fair. And this other pressure from one side kept mounting up, while on the other side I was having quite positive input from all the media, and it was lovely because it was like I had this positive side saying to me, this is great what you're doing, trying to, increase awareness, normalise trans, put it out there that you're just like anybody else. It's great. So we was having all this very positive input on one side, and then on the other side I was having this feeling of powerlessness. And in the end, the imbalance was so great of the powerlessness and the draining away of power and confidence and everything else. It was horrible, and in the end I just said, well, I can't deal with this struggle, what's going on in my head. That certain parts of society want to empower me and other parts want to disempower me, and it was horrible, and I just had to take time out. And my surgeon, after I'd had the emergency operation when the erectile device failed, said to me, Felix, I want you to take the 4 weeks off. I know you've had 4 weeks off, but I want you to take another 4 weeks off, because you need time to heal. And I knew he didn't just mean physically, he meant emotionally, he meant psychologically, and he was right. And I just broke down in front of the nurses. I'm not embarrassed to say that. I broke down, and they were fantastic, and they said, look, Felix, you know, people just don't get it, and people just don't understand what you guys and girls go through when you go through this transition. And I said, well, I know that it's hard for everybody. I said, but I just can't. I said, I'm exhausted. I'm absolutely physically and mentally exhausted, and I said, I need time just to sort everything out. So, in terms of transitioning in middle age, because I've been very depressed, and I've been anxious, and I've been stressed out, as is usual for me, I've been eating a lot more than usual, and that's always been my biggest crutch. If I'm down and stressed, I'll turn to food. And I know it's not good. Some people turn to drink, some people turn to drugs, some people smoke more, some people, you know, I don't know. Everybody's got their own crutch, haven't they? But mine's food, and it's not good really. Anyway, so I've put about a stone on, and I know it's got to come off, because I've lost £4 this week, but I know it's got to come off, because I can't go into hospital in August for my chest. A little bit of work he's doing on my chest. I can't go in, you know, worried about me, you know, breathing and things like that, because I'm a bit overweight. So I will have to do something about it. So I really need to get my motivation up to do that. So I'm working on the motivation at the moment, which is hard, because I'm up and down like a yo-yo. Yesterday I had a great day. I saw a friend and he made me laugh a lot. But then I came home and I just felt down again. I just feel, oh, it's ridiculous. But anyway, it does feel ridiculous to me, and I'm really struggling. And I think I'm going to have to ask my doctor to put me on the next dose of these tablets, because I'm not level enough. I'm still too up, down, getting stressed, having panic feelings, not sleeping properly. I mean, I know some of that now is because of the heat. Next week I'm going to have my test, not next week, the 30th I'm having my testosterone levels done, because I haven't had them done for 2 years now. And I think they're too low. Personally think they're too low. I have talked to an endocrinologist the other week with Helen, when Helen went for it to see an endo, and I did ask the consultant if he thought it could be my testosterone levels, and he was good enough to say to me, yes, I think it probably is. So I'm looking at bringing my dose back a week, and he's told me to tell the GP that he said, and that he can ring up and check if, you know, if need be. But to save me going all the way to Harrogate again, which is money which we can't afford at the moment, then I'll just tell them what he said when we was in the consultation. because I know other people whose T levels have gone too low or E levels have gone too low. It does make them feel real down and tired and things, so, and crabby and all that sort of thing. So I'm sure it's got something to do with it. I'm sure everything's collided at once, and my T levels is possibly one of the factors that's making me feel so crap. Yeah, so another thing what Finn talked about transition and midlife was how you actually see things, how you view things, your perception of things. Like, when I first started going through transition and I was on T, you know, and this was for quite a while when I was first on testosterone, it made me feel years younger. And that wasn't just a mental thing in the first few years. It was a physical thing as well. And I felt full of energy. I felt full of get up and go. I felt revitalised. But I felt really young in my mind as well. You know, this was going through puberty again. But it was like a vertical thing for me because I was working and I had to be sensible about things. I couldn't like go through puberty as a 13 to 21 year old would go through it. I had to go through it like straight up vertical because you know, I couldn't just say, oh, I'm not bothered with this or I'm not bothered with that. I had to go to work. I had to be, you know, mature with the children, and they were teenagers too. So I had to be, you know, me usual self, functioning on all cylinders. And so, you know, even though sometimes I actually felt like a teenager, I couldn't really kind of display that, but I did very much know what the children were feeling in the teenagehood, which was quite useful to me, to be honest. I could really relate to the teenagers, and it's like Helen's always said to me about when we're transitioning. She said it doesn't just happen in 2 or 3 years. Full transition is like growing up again, and she's been 10 years 13 years transitioning, and she said it's took her about 10 years to hormonally transition, and she said she still thinks she's having small, very small changes, and she had a surgery 10 years ago, so. But she said it takes all that time because it's like growing up again, and it's like your body and your psyche all changing, and so you're going through that whole growing up process again. And I do tend to agree with her because I'm 5 years on T now, and I know I'm still having psychological changes. I know I'm still having bodily changes, and you know. I think, you know, it'll be interesting to see when I go back a week on T whether I get a bit more vitality again. We'll see what happens. But, you know, that'll be interesting. But I do think that, you know, transition isn't about 1 or 2 years of being on T and having your surgeries and then thinking, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, that's all over. It definitely isn't, and it definitely takes a number of years to fully transition. But then I think when you're self-aware and you know what's going on, you realise that, and you realise that you know things are still happening all the time. You know, when you're on testosterone or estrogen, you know, you're always changing, and you're growing up again, and you're going through the whole cycle of change. So, you know, be aware of that it's not just a 5-minute wonder when you go on T or E. You're changing for a long time, and sometimes once you've been on it a while, and I'm not talking 2 years here, I'm talking, say, like me, like 5 years, the changes will be really, really subtle changes that you might only notice, you know, every now and again. But they are there, and they will be there. But obviously the most drastic changes happen in the first year or so, don't they? You know, facial hair, muscle mass, body fat redistribution, body hair, voice dropping. You know, all those things, your face changes over time. You know, all those things happen quite quickly. And then it slows down, but things do still keep happening. And the way I look on the world now to the way I looked on the world before, and the things I think and see and feel, they are quite different to before. And the way I am as a person is quite different to before. But I did used to think, you know, when it, like Finn was saying about chest surgery, I used to have this image of, oh yeah, I'm going to have this, you know, great chest with great pecs and all the rest of it. Well, I'm 47 now, and unless I look after it, I won't have great pecs. I mean, I might never have great pecs, but I won't have the pecs of a 20-year-old who's going through the process. And as much as I'd like to have dreamt that I would have had, which I did, obviously, looking at other men's chests, I did. I used to think, oh yeah, I'll have that fantastic chest. But actually, in reality, it's nice. I'm really pleased with the job Mr. Nishaw's done. But I'll never have a chest like a 20-year-old. I'm 47. I'm going to be 50 in 3 years. And I have to, you know, and as for middle-age spread, well, yeah, if I look after myself, I'll keep it under control. And that's up to me, at the end of the day. I agree with Jay on that one, actually, because Jay was saying exactly the same. That, you know, it's up to a person. Everybody gets a little bit of fat redistribution on the belly, but it's up to us as an individual to look after that and make sure that if you don't want to have a great big belly and middle-age spread, well, do something about it. Eat healthy, exercise, look after yourself. Because at the end of the day, it is up to yourself as an individual to do these things. Nobody can do them for you. So, anyway. Yeah, so that's probably about it, as I've been on 27 minutes, and this thing hopefully will upload. So, hope I haven't bored you too much, and hope that, I hope you enjoyed this video, Finn. Sorry it's a day late. I was rather poorly the last few days with my hay fever, so... Okay, mate, anyway, take care, YouTubers, and I'll speak to you soon.